because he would have been shot by the robot, and then tie him up and put him on the other side of the thing. And I was like, this is the most AIDS movie. And then it ends with him going, we're gonna get married. And she's just like, oh, and he's like, yeah, baby, we're gonna fuck. And she's like, okay. And then the credits roll, and that's it.
I heard that Luc Besson was writing not one, but 2 sequels to Valerian.
No.
Before the movie was even released. So he was like, oh, these movies aren't going to rate themselves.
It's so bad. And I only saw the last 20 minutes of it. And it was... Dane DeHaan is so fucking bad. Like, and I like him a lot, but he was so bad. Apparently the character in the comic doesn't have much of a personality. But it was like... Basically, it was like watching a Call of Duty character. He's like, yeah, baby, I love you. We're going to fight. We're gonna win. We're gonna win with our hearts. And I'm high. Like, that was the whole thing. It's the most disgusting. And Rihanna's in it for like 5 seconds, at least from what I saw, and she's just is a stripper, and that's it.
Did I tell you that Helen Mirren plays Jason Statham's mom in Fast and Furious 8?
I don't know why that's disgusting, but it is.
It's really bizarre. Me and my mom were watching it last night. Like, it's one of those shots where like it starts at one end of a round table and it's like revolving as the conversation is going. And my mom, in the middle of the scene, is just leans over to me while the movie's going. She's like, is that who I think it is? That's Helen Mirren. And I was like, yeah. So that movie was fucking bizarre. By the way, I pressed start again. Welcome to the...
What? You gotta warn me before you do these things.
Ew. Hi. Welcome to the podcast again. Schmucks of the Galaxy, also known as the last 20 minutes of Valerian. I'm your resident Jason Statham's mom, Toby.
I'm Valerian.
What?
I'm just Valerian.
What?
My name's Valerian.
Okay, Ben.
I'm Zach Rock the Schrock Rubin.
Ew. What do you guys want to talk about?
I was gonna say I was on the way over here. I was thinking Dunkirk, but there's not much you can really say.
It was a great.
It was
movie.
just other than
Harry Styles was in it.
He was the best.
He did a good job,
I think. I mean, other than Kenneth Branagh, but like Harry Styles.
No, Tom Hardy's eyes.
That's true.
I felt like even though Tom Hardy was good in this movie as he is in every single movie,
He had 3 lines.
Yeah, I kind of felt as though he was underused slightly. I don't know. Maybe that was just me.
I was watching. I know this is a stupid ass thought, but watching the movie, I was like, I just want to see more of his face.
Yeah. No. And then when they put the it's not a gas mask, but like when they go high altitude, they put on like the oxygen mask.
Right.
And like the accent plus the effect on it, I couldn't understand the fuck they're saying. It's like, and I'm like,
Actually,
okay.
Actually, I take that back because even though it would have been nice to see more of Tom Hardy, I also feel like the fact that every character was like, could easily be dismissed or could die at any point. There was that like lack of, I guess, care for a particular specific character. And that risk they took with everybody made the war feel more real in the sense where it's not like the main character's protected. Just
No one
by being
feels
the main
like the
character.
main character.
Yeah.
Right. And that made the war feel more realistic.
It felt less like a movie.
Yeah.
It felt like a reenactment.
Yeah.
But like,
Right.
I think Nolan and Luc Besson are really bad with characters, but really good with world building.
Yeah,
You
I'd
know?
agree.
Like,
The Dunkirk cinematic universe.
ew.
Christopher Nolan paves the way!
The sequel is about
The Cold War.
what happened to Tom Hardy's character.
Oh yeah, I want to... Oh my god, what if Dunkirk is the prequel to the Venom movie, and that what happens after... Well, spoilers. What happens afterwards, like when the Germans take away Tom Hardy...
Oops, my bad.
I said it. Sorry!
Did you hear that theory that alien movie called Life with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds
there was
a
a
prequel to Venom?
There was a rumor.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was confirmed to be false, but
Yeah, there was a rumor. There was like, wait a second, this is a Sony movie, and it's about aliens, and the alien gets back on Earth at the end of the movie. What if this alien is the symbiote?
honestly, I would have actually
I would've-
totally been okay with
yeah,
that.
Quite
me too.
frankly, that would have been really cool. Honestly.
It would have made sense.
It's too clever for them. They will never do it.
I feel like that's the common reaction. Like, this makes too much sense and is too good of an idea for something like Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Emoji Movie is a Sony product. So
It's the most cancerous thing. I've had to. Okay, so I work at a movie theater, and it's one of those bullshit ones where we run food into like the theater. So I've had to see bits of that movie for like the past since it fucking came out, and it's always the same scene. I always walk in and it's T.J. Miller going, "I'm sad, dance party," and then they go into the Just Dance app, and then they play all of Sony's licensed tracks, which is fucking awful. There's one part where they surf songs in Spotify. They get saved by the Twitter icon, and basically,
how does the Twitter icon save them?
It comes in like the Eagles, like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No,
I'm just making that up.
No, basically, James Corden's character dies 4 times, and he gets resurrected every fucking time.
I'll give this to that movie. James Corden is like one of the most infuriating people in popular culture. So the fact that the movie kills him 4 times is at the very least a pro to the movie. I give the writers credit for killing off James Corden.
Well, what I will say is, what's so funny is that when you mention the like Twitter bird saving anybody, the thing is
I believe his name is Twatter.
Twatter. I feel like it's one of those things where it's just dumb enough, but also like oddly clever in a way that I totally see Sony doing that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way for a movie like the Emoji Movie to work, especially in a post the Lego Movie world, where you take a movie that on the surface it looks like a marketing, like a commercial that's 2.5 hours long,
which is exactly what it ended up being.
Well, but it's funny that like the Lego Movie is like the complete polar opposite to the Emoji Movie, where it's like there's subtext and actual clever writing in the movie, as well as like decent comedy, as opposed to, at least from what I've seen in the trailers and what you're telling me, is that like everything is like the most lowbrow humor.
There are feminist jokes.
Well,
like there's one part where they come, you know, when like in every movie when they come up with the plan and they're like, all right, we're gonna go in here and then like this asshole sidekick is like, and then we're gonna do this, and they're like, yeah. So they have that. They have that, and when they're talking about their plan, and then like it goes back and forth between a bunch of characters.
Oh, okay.
So like after that exchange, the girl emoji, who's like some punk hipster thing, and the only one that wears clothing, she basically goes, "All right, we're just gonna do the men's plan, huh? All the men are gonna do the plan." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Well, from the studio that made Ghostbusters, but women.
You know, I want to say 2 things. One is, when it comes to James Corden, he's not my favorite, but I don't like heavily dislike him.
I dislike him because he feels like
of
all the late night talk show hosts. Well, you see, Jimmy Fallon is pretty fake, but like there's seems
he's
something.
Likeable.
Yeah, he's like cute in a way where he's like, oh, they put a little baby in a little talk show. It's like It feels like someone who didn't know that they were going to be the host of a late night show, but just ended up being there and embraced it. Despite the fact that like he's like, oh my god, I'm standing next to Will Smith. Like he feels like he overreacts to everything, and there's like a fakeness to him.
Yeah.
James Corden feels like he does everything everyone wants out of a late night show host. Like there's no, like every time
it's so scripted.
Every time I see
disgusting.
one of those like stupid karaoke things in the car things, it pisses me off so much. It's like this is almost as lowbrow as the celebrity lip sync TV show that they have. It's like you're just taking someone and another someone and making them sing that other someone's song in a car. Like there's nothing ambitious.
And people watch it.
It's about as ambitious as the Emoji Movie, where it's like, okay, you know, there's things in your phone. Let's make an entire narrative about that.
What I'll say is, while there are definitely issues with his show, I actually thought the Adele carpool karaoke was a lot of fun. I like Adele. I enjoyed it.
Get the fuck.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
Aside from that, as for Sony, it's kind of funny to consider that there was a time when they were good. You know,
like the original Spiderman
it was like once Amazing Spider-Man came out, from that point forward to like 2012 or maybe a little earlier, 2010 maybe. It started to get really stupid.
I want to say the year they went sour was 2007, where they made Sam Raimi force in Venom into Spider-Man,
Spider-Man
3,
3, yeah.
and when they made Ghost Rider. Granted,
That's fair.
I don't hate those
It's
movies,
very
but I
fair.
feel like that was the beginning of like Sony starting to make some not so great decisions. And then
I wonder if there was a leadership change.
There was.
There was.
There
I know
was?
that at a certain point, Amy Pascal became this person in charge at Sony.
She no longer is she still?
I think she is because
She's been demoted like one.
I don't
or
know.
something
Like I feel
that.
like the other guy's name is Tom Rothman or something like that. I don't know, but like
Tim Rothman, right?
Tim Roth is the guy in the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Sorry, I can't make sense.
And he also
Tom
played.
Rothman.
He played Hulk.
I know
Hulk.
Tim. I know
Oh
Tim
yeah, he played
Roth. He was
Abomination.
Abomination.
in
Yeah.
Hulk.
Yeah.
Like I might be getting.
Oh yeah, he played Abomination.
Yeah, like, but the point is that
He played the Skulk in the Hulk.
Ew.
to get
The skulk and the bulk.
look at me in the eyes when you say that.
I'll skulk your bulk.
Ew.
Oh, that was actually really gross.
Oh, that was gross.
I'll bulk on your skulk.
I'll clunk on your clunky.
Okay.
Rock the Shock Statham.
Why did that sound like Shrek? Get out of my swamp, you clunky unky. What's happening
What?
right now? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. What were we talking? Oh yeah, like Sony. I don't know. Like when they started doing like really shit stuff, like multiple Men in Black stuff, and then the what you call it,
Well,
Spider-Man
the
movies,
mentalities that's leaking
and
into
Ghost
their.
Rider 2.
Yeah, but it's
all these shit movies.
they're like that mentality's leaking into their PlayStation division.
Oh, and the Smurfs.
1 and 2
and 3.
and oh,
I made
fuck.
a third.
The Smurf Cinematic Universe!
Ew.
What's sad is that exists.
I know.
I mean, it could if we let it happen.
Okay, there's
What else could they do?
there's a My Little Pony movie coming out with Liev Schreiber.
Is he playing Sabretooth?
I don't know. I hope so.
That'd be so amazing.
He's probably the bad guy.
Mhm.
Let's see. What's the bad guy in the pony movie? What's the
What?
what kind of bad guy?
Who's the bad guy in the pony movie?
What kind of bad guy can they possibly have?
I don't know why, but
It's
I
like
picked-
some buff ass centaur with a spear.
That's funny that you say that because I don't know why, but I pictured Liev Schreiber either as a centaur or I just pictured him voicing like a real horse, like just a normal horse.
Imagine being a mom
The fuck
taking
am I?
your daughter
Yeah.
to the My Little Pony movie, and everyone else in the theater is just a bunch of bronies, like a bunch
That's
of
what it's gonna be.
30, 40-year-old, 500, 400-pound men in shirts that are 2-3 sizes too small on them. Like, oh my god, I wanna fuck this horse!
Oh, it's raspberry gum.
It's Rainbow Star
It's
Shiggle!
disgusting. There's another movie coming out. I was gonna send you guys the trailer, but I forgot. It's called. So it looks. When I saw the poster, I was like, "This looks fucking retarded." It's called The Snowman with
Oh,
Michael
well, yeah, I've seen the
Fassbender.
trailer with that.
Yeah, and then I saw the trailer and I'm like, "This actually looks kind of good."
Yeah.
It's like a serial killer that hides like the victims' bodies in like
Yeah,
in snowmen.
So Zach, apparently what he does is he kills women by slicing their heads off and putting them on snowmen's bodies, and then takes snowman heads and puts them on their human bodies.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked.
It's really fucked up, and it's with Michael Fassbender and that chick from Mission Impossible 5, who, by the way,
How does he not get caught?
I mean, it's one of those like the Zodiac killer movies where it's like, oh,
It's based
we
off
can't
a-
find him.
It's based off a. I think it's a Danish book.
Is
or
it like
Swedish.
a dark comedy? Because it
No,
sounds
it's
like
a
a
no,
dark
it's like
comedy.
It's
a-
a thriller.
It's like a Silence of the Lambs type of. It
Yeah,
reminded me
it's a
of.
thriller.
It reminded me
watched
of
the trailer.
Insomnia with Robin Williams and Al Pacino.
I have
Oh,
yet
I-
to. That's a Christopher Nolan movie, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I have yet to see that. It's on the list.
I just love Robin Williams as a bad guy. There's another one with Robin Williams where he plays a guy that works at like a photo
Oh yeah, 1 hour
processing.
photo.
Yeah, that's really good.
I love
It's
that.
really fucked,
that
but it's
movie's
really good.
funny because there's an Evangelion reference where some kid runs up to him with an Evangelion toy and he pronounces the name wrong. He's like, "Oh, Neon Genesis Evangelion."
Hey, it's Amine!
And it's funny because Robin Williams is actually a huge anime fan, and he
Really?
actually requested
Yeah.
like his 2 favorite anime were Evangelion and Ghost in the Shell.
That's funny.
And like he
Huh.
actually requested.
He named
them.
his daughter Zelda.
He did.
Hmm.
There's a commercial out there for the 3DS release of Ocarina of Time with him and his daughter playing Ocarina of Time
That's
on
awesome.
the 3DS, and it's actually really heartwarming. Also, because Robin Williams in the commercial has this humongous beard and kind of looks like Santa Claus.
What I find, I used to feel that way about Jim Carrey, where when I was watching some of his older '90s stuff, I was like, I can only imagine how great this guy would be as a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I used to fan cast him as Carnage. Where I was like, he'd be
He
a
would
cool
be
Carnage.
That would
Such a
be
great
really cool,
Carnage.
actually.
But you know what? He was in Batman Forever. and that ruined everything.
Yeah.
I liked him in a series of unfortunate events, though.
My
So
favorite.
did I.
My favorite.
I don't like
Jim
the.
Carrey
I
movie-
like the movie Series of Unfortunate Events better than the stupid Netflix show.
I mean,
Really, I like them both. So
I
hate
saw
Neil
that
Patrick
movie in the
Harris
theaters
as
and I
Olaf.
hated it because it was just so boring.
I've read all the books. So
What's
that's
so
why.
funny
I've
is
learned
most
that's
people who
in the
read the
books,
books
but-
prefer the show over the movie, and
I
people
know.
who are the opposite, like who didn't read the books, preferred the movie over the show.
Well, here's the thing. I think the show nailed the setting and like the look of the books, but I don't like Neil Patrick Harris as Olaf. I just don't like. Jim Carrey could kind of be a little scary, and like Olaf could be a little scary when he wasn't being retarded. Neil Patrick Harris is just retarded.
Really, you didn't have any moments where he was kind of intimidating? I take it no.
Not to me. I mean, maybe to other people, but not to me.
The most intimidating Neil Patrick Harris was in Gone Girl, and he wasn't even like a villain in that.
Yeah,
movie.
he was just kind of creepy.
He was just kind of like, I really want to fuck you. So I thought you were hot in high school.
But now I'm dead.
Spoilers.
It came out already. Fucking see it.
Oh, that's what you said that my mom said in the toilet.
I kind of feel like people are too sensitive to spoilers these days to an extent. Like, I feel like I understand if the movie just came out,
Well,
but once it's a certain point, you just gotta.
Well, I agree
Yeah,
because we talked about this before, but I watched The Sixth Sense the day before we went to City Walk to go see Dunkirk,
Yeah.
and I think everyone knows the ending, like the twist at the end
I
of that
actually
movie.
didn't before I watched the movie, and that
I
made it
did,
so
and
much better.
I did, and I watched the movie, and no joke, like that was the first movie in years to make me tear up because that is a really fucking good movie.
Yeah, I
have
agree.
to watch it
It's
again.
it's one of my favorites of all time.
It's such a good fucking movie, and like at a certain point, yeah, I completely agree. Like if you know, like if you haven't seen Star Wars, but you know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father, that shouldn't stop you from seeing the Star Wars, you know?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's some twists that are like, okay, yeah, that's gonna get out after a certain amount of time. Granted, there's some stuff where it's like, okay, don't say the twist because that's like makes the whole movie. I wouldn't say that the twist in The Sixth Sense makes the movie because it's more about the performances and like the relationship between Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment, who, by the way, was so good in that fucking movie. It makes me so mad that he
But he
hadn't
He's
just
really...
also in
disappeared.
Forrest Gump.
Well, he
Oh
doesn't...
yeah, that's right.
He was.
He just fell off the face of the earth.
Well, he's had as much of an adult career as Macaulay Culkin.
right.
Except I think Haley Joel Osment is like stable.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know.
I don't know if Macaulay Culkin.
He basically
No, he did. He became stable recently. He's all cleaned up.
Oh, that's good.
Haley Joel Osment though, his like body grew up, but his face is the same as when he was like 8, and it's kind of terrifying.
Max Landis made a movie called Me, Him, Her about like
Yeah, I watched the Red Letter Media about that, and
It
they
was-
did not like it.
it was okay. I thought it was kind of funny. I didn't think it was a great movie, but Haley Joel Osment has like a really small role in it, and he kind of looks really. He looks like John Candy, and it's kind of funny.
He looks like those like the meme where it's like how old are you? He's like I'm 15, but I'm also 45, and it's like the little kid face, and they're all like fucking weird looking.
Oh, that's so. Funny.
That's what he looks like to me.
That reminds me. I forget the name of the guy, but apparently there's this person who has this disease where even though they're 40, they look like they're 11.
Andy
That's
Milonakis.
How was I the only person to not know about this fucking thing?
That's the
until-
movie Orphan. That's the whole plot.
Oh no, but in
she
real
was
life,
she was
yeah,
a
Andy Milonakis.
lolicon.
What? No, she was like a 50-year-old woman that looked like a 12-year-old
I
girl.
know. Lolicon
You know,
is like,
Andy Milonakis became a rapper after his show.
that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Lolicon is an anime terminology
Okay, no, we're not
for like
doing this.
really small girls.
It's disgusting.
Really tiny girls.
Who came up with
Like
that?
thumb-sized girls.
I
Ew, what?
You're a thumb-sized girl.
Ew.
I know.
What do you
I
got?
think that's going to be the title of this episode, Thumb-Sized Girls.
It's disgusting.
Plus Dunkirk.
Guys,
It's fun, Kirk.
Dunkirk.
or Cunfirk.
Ew.
Ew.
Or Clunky Dirk.
I like
That's
Fun Kirk
gross.
best. That's just so awful.
Imagine seeing Dunkirk in a theater with like every seat is filled, everyone's super gripped to the movie, and like in the most intense part of the movie, you just yell out "Fun Kirk!"
Can one of you guys literally Photoshop like a picture that says Christopher Nolan's on the top? You see the word "fun," and
No,
you
it's-
see a picture of Captain Kirk underneath
That's
it, and make that
disgusting.
the image for this episode. And it's Christopher
No.
Nolan's Fun Kirk.
We're gonna have fun today.
We're of AIDS to date.
Oh,
Oh, oh.
trying to think. What else? I got that game Get Even that I sent you guys the trailer for a long
I like
time
how we
ago.
totally segued out of Dunkirk entirely.
Well,
There's
I mean,
not much to say about
when
it.
you Dunkirk and you fun Kirk, you got a Kirk and Dunkirk.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that and Baby Driver have been the two movies where
They're
there's
just
not a lot
good,
to say.
but there's not much to say.
But Spider-Man: Homecoming's another movie we've seen where there is like a
Yeah.
lot
I
to talk
still
about.
really need to see that movie again because even though I really enjoyed it, there's stuff about it that
I heard some people walking out of the theater like that they didn't really like it that much.
I did like it, but I feel like there's stuff now that I know what happens beat for beat, it'll be easier for me to see it again and like not guess where it's going next and be kind of disappointed. I think that's my problem with like seeing a movie that's based on something that I like really love, like Spider-Man, where it's like, ooh, it'd be really cool if they did this, and I don't do that, and I like sort of hold it against the movie, even though it's like what I would do, but I'm not a smart person.
I don't know, the way I feel about that movie is in retrospect, I don't enjoy it as much as I did while watching it.
Yeah.
But I do think that, you know, some of the complaints, while fair, I feel like it would be really hard, like, to bring Spider-Man into the Marvel Universe in many other ways. I felt like this was the easiest, cleanest way.
Like I said at the end of the movie, that I think because Spider-Man,
I done dropped my cat.
okay, I'm gonna get you, you fucking
I think
bottle cat.
I think from this point forward, like Spider-Man: Homecoming 2 on, they're gonna be really awesome.
That's what I said. Like,
but they needed to start somewhere.
right, and I feel like looking back, this movie will get better as the character progresses and like looking because what makes this movie interesting is that he's definitely the most flawed version of Spider-Man we've seen in the universe.
Which I love. I think
yeah,
it's fantastic.
like, he's definitely a kid and feels and behaves like one, too.
It's like his origin story, I thought. It was like
Yeah,
part 2 of the origin story.
absolutely. And what's really cool is that I think as we see this character progress over, like, I'm assuming the trilogy that he's going to be in, and I definitely think he's going to be, because Sony's in charge. This is what I'll say. The one good thing about Sony is that they're unpredictable, but in some ways to a good point, because I feel like they're just going to keep churning out Tom Holland Spider-Man movies forever and ever and ever, like every 2 years. I'm totally okay with that, because the more Spider-Man movies with this kid, the better. Because
he's going to grow up, and that's going to be great.
And I feel like the more content we see with his version of Spider-Man, the more, like, all of the movies in his that are of his story will improve.
I also like how with Spider-Man: Homecoming, you know, a lot of when people said there's no origin, I took this as like a continuation of the origin.
Yeah, like
where
everyone knows his origin.
Right, where the next just the origin of his powers.
Right.
But like I felt like this was like part 2 of that origin story, where it was like him learning how to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like in the original 2.
Yeah, he has to learn how to be Spider-Man.
Like the first 2 times they did it, it's
just a montage.
It's like there's like a montage, and then he's like an expert. You know, like, and this one is different.
He's like he already has his powers, but he's still not as good as either of those Spider-Mans were in the entirety of that movie.
Yeah.
And this is still like after the origin, but he's still worse than they were in the origin.
No, it's just a continuation of the origin. They're going the ultimate route.
No, I know, but
worse is in like not.
What I'm saying is like
not as experienced,
and it's a slow burn, is what they're doing.
No, yeah, that's what I like. And what I'm saying is that to kind of what you said is that they didn't tell the origin story like the other 2 series did, but this Spider-Man is more flawed than those Spider-Mans were, in spite of the fact that those movies told the origin, and at the end of their respective origin stories, Spider-Man was like the best that he could possibly be. And even though this takes place after him getting his powers, after Uncle Ben dying, after him after him basically deciding he wants to be a superhero, all of like this regular stuff. That, like, I'm assuming he went after like Uncle Ben's killer and all that stuff. Like all the stuff you know about Spider-Man's origin story, he's still at the end of Homecoming. Spoiler. He's still nowhere near as like good at being Spider-Man as Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
and I really like that.
I do, and I think by the time they go to Homecoming 2 after Infinity War, I think what's going to be nice is you're going to have like a fully fledged Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I feel like looking back when all these movies are watched like together, it's going to be a really nice like burn. The only 2 complaints that I really felt like were valid was the Iron Man suit critique. I understand why people felt like
suit or the spider suit.
The spider suit being very Iron Man like.
I get it.
I understand
like
it.
The AI.
I understand it, but I kind of liked it because I felt like it changed things enough to make them interesting.
I did too. I feel like
She wasn't in it too much. The
The AI.
computer system.
And they got rid of the suit for that very reason. I felt like they realized, like, oh, this might be a problem, so let's take it away.
Well, I
from
feel
it.
like it played into like the theme of the movie, where it's like he's trying to be like all the other superheroes, and when you take that all away, like when it's just him in his shitty costume, that's when he's like put in a situation where it becomes that, and then
Right.
when Iron Man approaches him to become an Avenger at the end of the movie, he turns it down, and it's like there's sort of like there is an arc that he goes through, and I feel like him having like the powerful costume, like the more Iron Man-esque costume, like it's part of his journey from like the beginning of the story to like I want to be just like Iron Man to the end, where it's like I'm totally fine being Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah, there was that, and then some people said the guilt of Uncle Ben's death didn't permeate the movie enough.
I get that.
I'm glad they only referenced it once.
They only referenced like the origin stuff like once. Like
I feel like they're gonna talk about it in the future.
Oh, I
just
agree.
felt like this movie was dealing with a different part of his
there's
life.
Yeah.
theory.
Tony was stepping in.
Yeah. It's not a theory as much of like people hope that when Spider-Man becomes friends with Doctor Strange, because apparently in Infinity War, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are gonna have like a bit of a back and forth, which people think when there was the announcement that Spider-Man 2 is gonna like every Spider-Man movie is gonna have a Marvel superhero guest star.
Yeah.
That people think that the next one's gonna be Doctor Strange, because of the reports that in Infinity War they have a lot of screen time together. People think and or want Spider-Man to like use the Eye of Agamotto to
go
like
back in
go
time.
see Uncle Ben.
I think that'd be really good, actually.
It'd definitely be a great way of like telling that part of Spider-Man's story
without doing it the
without
same way.
without retelling it.
And I think a problem that they were having too. I think my problem with that comment is, while I can see it, I also feel like when Spider-Man like is initially Spider-Man, it's not necessarily a burden at first. I felt like it became more of a burden as more terrible things happen to him.
Right.
You know, because like early on, like Uncle Ben's death is hanging over him,
Of course.
but there isn't really a lot of other burden around.
No.
And I feel like with Aunt May being younger, that also gets rid of that like Aunt May could have a heart attack element. You know.
Right.
But I feel like they didn't.
Because she's not 97.
Well, also,
Yeah, right.
I feel like it was smart of them to do that, because now that they started off with Spider-Man too young, and they have a young Aunt May too, that if they're going to go as, like, along with Tom Holland Spider-Man as I hope they do, that Aunt May will probably go along with him too.
Yeah, I think
Like,
it'll.
she'll go
Yeah,
too.
I think it'll eventually reach where the comic book is in terms of the feel and everything, but I think it has to be a slow burn. Like, if you've read the Ultimate Comics, it took them like 2 volumes to set up Spider-Man. It wasn't like 1 volume.
Right.
And I felt like everyone wants it to go by really quickly.
Right.
You know, they just want to get to the
Because
point where
everyone's
it's
like,
great.
I want the Spider-Man,
that we know.
yeah, that I love already with all these heroes, and I feel like
You can't
that'd
do
be
that.
cool, but
That's what DC is doing, and it doesn't work.
yeah, like, even though it's a cool idea, I feel like having the Spider-Man be, like, differentiated from the others, like, in his own right, but also just to, like, stand out from the rest of the heroes. Like, it's good to, like, have him be basically a kid in an adult environment, which is literally and figuratively what Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side note, in the first Spider-Man movie, when Green Goblin blows up Aunt May's living room, you can see her nipple.
What's wrong with you?
Are you serious?
Yeah, it really traumatized me.
Why were you looking at
How did
her
you
nipples?
notice that?
It
I
was
never
just
noticed
there. It just came out.
Oh my
I didn't
God.
like it.
I don't like it right now.
I don't know what to say about that.
Nothing.
One thing I will say though is
I want to see Marissa Tomei's nipple. Just one nipple. 2 nipples, I'm done.
you want to know
Get away from
something?
me.
I want to see your toes.
You know,
You're disgusting.
no matter how good future Spider-Man movies are, I feel like the first 2 Tobey Maguire ones are always going to be like in my
but the next one has
top 3.
freaking Michael Mondo, and he's amazing.
I'm
so excited.
I really hope they're doing what I think they're doing, which is they're setting up. The first trilogy is going to be like it's going to end up with Sinister Six, and then maybe the next trilogy will be.
I feel like they're gonna swap
Green Goblin.
out Green Goblin though. I don't know.
No, I think
Sinister Six.
I don't know. I feel like they're afraid.
No, Kevin
I feel
Feige
like-
said that he's going to start with villains we've never seen in the films
Which is
before,
totally fine.
which I think is better. I don't think they should do
No,
ones
I
we've already
completely
seen,
agree.
and then eventually they're going to start to do ones we've already seen, but in a different way.
I completely agree.
And I think it's the best way to go about it.
if they were going
What
to
happened to him? He went from Ghostbusters to this. Like
Who?
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige?
Yeah.
You mean Paul? Not Paul Feig. You're thinking about.
Or is that Paul?
No, Kevin Feige
Paul
was...
Feig is the guy who directed.
Their name is the same. Fuck that.
Paul Feig is the guy who directed the new Ghostbusters, but I feel like you're thinking
No,
of
there was an.
Dan Aykroyd.
I'm not thinking of Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd had the Crystal Skull vodka. I'm not thinking of him.
Bill Murray then?
Maybe it was Bill Murray.
Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis. Who are you thinking about?
No,
Kevin
it was.
Feige was not
It
in
was.
Ghostbusters.
No, not in it. There was Paul. I confused Paul Feig and Kevin Feige.
Oh yeah,
because their name is pretty much the same.
it's Kevin Feige.
I don't like that.
So if we were gonna do,
I'm sorry, I fucked up.
it's okay. If we were in charge of assembling the Sinister Six, but the one condition was that they all had to be heroes Spider-Man hadn't gone up against, who would you do? Because
Craven.
I feel like
Immediately.
definitely
Yeah,
Craven.
I feel like Vulture and Shocker are shoo-ins because they both survived, spoilers, at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. So
Well,
like,
we know we're getting Scorpion, but I really want to see Craven. You know who I wanted to play Craven was Jason Momoa. I thought he would have been an awesome
I
Craven.
think Joel Butler would be a great.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too.
Or
That
Joe
works.
not Manu Bennett, who played Deathstroke and Arrow.
Yeah.
Well, to me, Manu Bennett, or however you pronounce his name, is like a discount Joe. How do you pronounce it? Magdaleno.
Joe Magdaleno.
Yeah.
He's literally a Walmart version of him.
The guy that was gonna play a Cable.
And he was gonna he
No,
was
the
gonna
guy
play
who's-
Deathstroke in the DC
Deathstroke.
in
movies.
the new Batman movie.
You want
which
to know
is pretty
something
fun.
though?
Yeah.
They're basically, to me, they're exactly the same. Just he's the more easily payable one.
He's
Like he's the
TV
discount
version
one.
and
Yeah,
he's the movie version.
He was the
Yeah.
best part of Arrow.
yeah, he really was.
Yeah,
he was a great Deathstroke.
he's back. Like
They said
Deathstroke
the
is-
show's getting better now that Deathstroke's back.
Well,
Fuck
have
that
you
show.
have you finished the new season?
No, I will never watch season 5. Season 4 burned me, and
No,
I
so
tried
I
the first
completely
episode of
agree.
season 5, and they were
I
terrible.
completely
I
agree. Season
stopped.
4 was worse than The Walking Dead season 2, which is saying a lot. But season 5 was actually okay. But I
I don't
feel
have
like
patience anymore.
Walking
best-
Dead got really boring. I'm just gonna say that really quickly. Did it
I mean,
get bad?
it didn't get bad.
It's maybe not bad, but it got boring after like the 3rd season.
I
It's the
get
same
that,
formula.
but-
They walk
Yeah, you're
somewhere,
right.
I get
something
that,
happens,
but like
they
I
walk
like the
somewhere.
characters enough to like put up with it because I feel like the characters are still interesting and worth watching.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to continue watching, but after the 4th season, my interest just.
I don't know.
And it's weird because
plummeted.
I started season 7, and I was like,
I don't know because I mean initially before I would watch the show I would probably think I'd be where you guys are like.
But like I've seen everything up until season 7.
Right, and
I still feel.
I finished
I'm kind
season
of
7 and I
whatever.
feel like season 7 was one of the better seasons because I feel like
Well, it's because of what's his face?
Negan.
What's the actor?
Jeffrey
name?
Dean Morgan.
Dean
He's
Morgan.
awesome.
Oh,
I love him.
he's absolutely the best part of the new season. But not even that. It's just that I've accepted the fact that the show operates more like a drama than an action show.
I know that's not what bothers me. It's not the dramatic element of
Oh,
it. I
It
don't need
just the
action.
episodes feel so fucking long.
Oh,
You know?
definitely.
And they also feel like they redo
They
the
drag,
same
yeah.
plot to a point, and they drag, yeah. But
Every season, it's
Yeah.
they.
You
they
see, I don't think so. I feel like they used to. I feel like seasons...
It's they go somewhere, they have a bad guy, they kill him, everything's destroyed. They go somewhere else, they have a bad guy.
You see, I feel like that's what happened starting from season 4 to season 6, where it's like
yeah.
for those 3 seasons, it was the same like formula.
yeah,
But now that season 7 started, it's like they're in one place again. They're fighting one guy, and there's like one conflict, and they're not going anywhere. Like it feels like the story has a bigger focus now.
maybe I don't know. Just the longer the show goes on, I just feel like I don't know. It's one of those comic books, or even the comic book itself. Like it's one of those ones where you can jump in and out. Like you could skip 2 whole seasons
Yeah.
and just be fine.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of not a.
My
good
mom
thing.
actually started watching the show with me, like near the end. She was like, "Oh, can I watch this with you? I have nothing to watch. I finished all of my shows."
And I
I'm
feel like
"Sure."
it's bad in a way. Like it's good that you can jump in easily.
I mean,
but
it's
kind
good.
of bad at the
It's
same
good
time.
because it makes it accessible. But as someone who's seen the entire show, I don't think it's bad, except for the fact that at certain points, jumping in isn't worth it. But like I would say, with season 7, if you were to jump in at season 7, probably be a good.
I
place
just
to
felt
jump
like
in.
Breaking Bad's an infinitely better show because it kept getting
not
progressively
even-
more
it's
interesting.
comparing apples to gold, like
Sure.
to diamonds. Like Breaking
That
Bad
show
is,
got better and better.
absolutely. Breaking Bad is fucking amazing. I think The Walking Dead is like a camel's hump. It goes up and down and up and
Yeah,
down.
I'd agree.
I
yeah.
feel like right
Sure.
now it's
It
more
has
of an up than-
episodes where you just have to get through it.
Yeah,
I thought the
and
governor,
it's just
the episode just
painful.
about the governor in season 4, was like my favorite
Oh,
episode
yeah.
I'd ever
it was a
seen.
very good episode, but I feel like
He's also a great actor. I forget his
Yeah.
name.
oh yeah, he was also British, right?
Yeah, he's British.
I also like how they didn't make
It's
anybody
David
like.
something.
I like how nobody looks comically like shredded. Like even John Bernthal, who's like the closest to
It's
that.
not like Gears of War where everyone's like buffer than their guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how everyone looks normal, and I feel like that makes the show feel more legitimate. And like the governor doesn't look like ridiculous.
No.
He looks like just a normal
Neither does
person. He looks
Negan.
like he'd be a history teacher.
Negan looks kind of like a.
Yeah, he was a gym coach. I think was part of his story.
Yeah.
I know this from the comics. I haven't seen it.
Negan looks like a kind of like a biker, I guess.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
jacket, but he was a gym coach in the comic books before
Mhm.
the zombie apocalypse, and I thought that was an interesting thing
Yeah.
for them to
I
go.
think Negan as a villain, not even as a villain,
I like
but
him a
like
lot.
as a character, he's
He's
definitely the thing that, in addition to all the
needed.
other stuff that the show had me interested in, Negan was definitely like the highlight.
I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan though actually elevates the character because I think the character is really cool, but I think had they had another actor play it, I don't think it would have like come across as.
It was definitely the best casting choice.
Yeah, they've made it a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They've done great casting though. I thought.
I just want Stephen Ogg to have a bigger part.
He does.
Oh, he does.
In
He gets
season
more?
7, yeah.
Okay, good.
That's why you should watch it. Like Stephen Ogg is like Negan's right hand man. He's in the show a lot.
So he takes over for Dwight.
Dwight's in it a lot, but Dwight's
Yeah.
lesser to. I mean, Dwight has an arc.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Ogg
I
doesn't
remember-
really have an arc. He's very static as a
Okay.
character, but he still has a lot of screen time. I'll say this, like this doesn't spoil anything, but Stephen Ogg is still alive by the end of the season. So
Okay.
if you want to like catch up to season 8,
Yeah.
you have more Stephen Ogg to look forward
Okay,
to,
good.
in addition to Negan and all the other villains. I feel like the show, like the season started off with obviously 2 big deaths. I won't tell
Yeah.
you who else died, but it's not like the show. I don't know. Like I would recommend catching up on it. It's
Yeah.
this is one of the better.
Yeah, I guess I
This is
forget
probably
that
the
one.
best season since season 3.
I always I'll binge it for I'll watch a shit ton of it and then I'll just get really burnt out and I'll stop.
I mean, I watched the
Yeah.
entire latter half of season 7 in 2 days.
Damn.
So,
Okay,
like,
so I'll
but that's
have to
only
do
the
that.
latter half.
There are
Like,
a
that was
lot
like
of
7
shows.
episodes.
Yeah.
There's so many shows I want to watch, but there's so much content nowadays
Absolutely.
that like
I
I really
know.
have to make sure it's something I really want to watch because if it's something I'm mildly curious about, I'll put that
Yeah.
off to watch something I know I want to
You
watch.
guys should watch The Expanse. It's like what the Abandoned Prey 2 game would have been, kind of.
Oh wow, is it on Netflix?
No.
Is
It's
it
on sci-fi, yeah.
Oh.
It's the best sci-fi show.
Yeah,
By
sci-fi is
far.
very hit or miss. It's something I always
Yeah.
find funny about them. They're just like, I feel like, I mean, it's a good thing because I feel like they take liberties with their shows, and I think, but I also think that can be like a curse sometimes, because sometimes it's really great, sometimes it's really bad. But I think it's better,
It's with,
more positive than negative.
why can't I remember his name? Played the Punisher in the movie.
Thomas
Thomas
Jane.
Jane. Is with Thomas Jane.
Ah, cool.
Can I just say this about Thomas Jane as the Punisher? While I understand that people love him as the Punisher, I feel like to me he's too pretty and good looking to be the Punisher. Like I'm
Yeah,
not saying
I mean,
John
I
Bernthal's
like-
a bad looking guy.
I
but-
like Bernthal more.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I also thought the Warzone Punisher, even though the movie wasn't very good,
haven't
I
seen
preferred
that,
it.
but I heard it was alright.
I don't
Well,
remember that
No,
one.
it's not a good movie, but it's fun.
Oh, okay.
It's like a fun watch if you want to pass the time and just
Oh.
like watch a bad movie. But this is how I feel. Like Thomas Jane's like a good actor, and he can be like the good-looking action star. But I feel like Frank Castle is not supposed to be like the pretty, good-looking
Yeah.
Right.
action star. He's tough as nails, and I don't think they should go Gears of War. That's too much.
Yeah.
They've done it. They've done it plenty of times in the
Yeah.
comics. But I think like John Bernthal was like the best approach I've seen in live action, where he like looks like a normal human. Like he doesn't look super pretty, and he looks like he's been through shit. And I also feel like he's not like a steroided out dude. He just looks like a military fit, like dude who's seen shit. And I feel like that's what I want. Who's traumatized.
Yeah. There's a scene, speaking
Tortured.
of Punisher, and that one, version of Punisher, there's a scene in Atomic Blonde that they ripped straight from Daredevil season 2. They remember the
prison scene. Was it?
No, it's the one. Remember the giant fight? It's like a tracking shot up a staircase.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They completely stole that. I walked in on it. I was like, "Fuck you."
You know, Atomic Blonde. Can I just say this? I think it looks really cool. But I always I don't know.
It's the same plot we've seen 1,000 times.
Yeah, I just feel like it's one of those movies where it looks really cool. You know, I'm sure when if I go see it, I'll have a good time.
I think it thinks it's smarter than it is.
Yeah, I think that's what bothers me. Sometimes I feel like, I think that's primarily what it is that they make it sound as though it's like a new film we've never seen before, and I feel
Well,
like
it also bothers
very
me
same,
when the
very much the
marketing
same.
of some movies is like, this is the new this of the that.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the first female James Bond. It's like, well, why do you have to base off this entire movie's quality of being as being the opposite gender version of another character? Like, I feel like that's doing
It takes away from its originality.
Yeah, I feel like that does this movie a disservice. Like, and especially like,
but people respond to it. So many people, so many customers at my theater are like, "Oh my god, finally a woman that's kicking butt." And
it's
I'm just
like,
well, they've been doing that for
like,
a
that
long.
shit pisses
Did you
me-
not see Wonder Woman?
Did you not see Aliens or
Exactly.
Terminator?
Yeah,
Like, fuck that shit. It bothers me. Like,
Yeah.
what about Xena Warrior Princess? What about Buffy the Vampire
Exactly.
Slayer?
I'm in the middle where I understand. Like, I agree with you guys in that regard, where it's definitely not the first. But I do think that there's some respectful representation out there, but there's also, like, the action fuck dolls, as I've heard them referred to, like the Electras and, like, Halle Berry
Yeah,
Catwoman's.
but that's, like, an outlier. I wouldn't say that's the majority.
Those are more comic, but no,
Yeah,
those
like,
are comic
I feel like
books.
that's very the comic book corner of heroines in pop culture.
And I think it was good that we have Wonder Woman, where it, like, fixed that the superhero female representation in regards to, like, and gave, like, a female superhero, like, the lead
it's like the
way.
It's the
I don't know.
I mean, in all honesty, it is the only good female-led superhero movie.
Oh, for
ever.
sure.
Because every single other one is terrible. Like, you have Supergirl, you have Elektra.
So
you
it's
have
nice to have a
Catwoman.
good one, I think.
It's the first good one. Like, there's been plenty of other superhero movies with women in them, but they haven't been the name. They haven't been leading the movie.
Yeah, I just get annoyed because sometimes I feel like, yes, I agree that, you know, the more and more we see of diversity and, you know, female representation and just representation of all different groups, I think it's nice to see.
Yeah.
But I feel like people sometimes use that as a way to discredit older movies.
Yeah, like, it's like the world's just started
Yeah, it's like
when this movie came out. Like,
Yeah,
it's like fuck Taken and fuck all John Wick and fuck that. Here's a woman. Like
Yeah, and
you
I
know?
feel like
It's like, this is the first great action movie ever
Yeah.
made.
and I feel like
this is
it's
the
kind of
first-
hypocritical to base it all off the fact that she's a woman because how do I explain it?
She's a great actress. Like
She is, but by
I think what you're
basing
trying to
it
say is it's hypocritical that they would advertise this movie's quality by being the female version of a guy franchise.
yeah,
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of that, but it's also like we want to be treated equally. You know, we're not actresses; we're also actors.
Well-
but then it's like this movie's only better because there's a female doing
Yeah.
the same things in prior movies.
It's like they didn't.
Like,
They put
that
all
should,
their,
deter-
they're not
that
saying
should
like,
not determine the movie's
yeah,
quality.
they're not saying
Yeah.
like this is a new take on the spy genre. They're saying, look, it's a girl.
Right, and
From everything that
yeah.
I've heard, it's the same trepidatious plots
It
and
is.
cliches.
It's basically the plot is
The only difference is that
it's a
Charlize Theron is the
the
star.
plot without spoiling anything. I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing, but the plot is like there's a list of all the spy names on it because that's how things
Skyfall.
really are. Who
Skyfall.
keeps lists like that?
Skyfall
And it's gonna
and
fall
Mission
into the
Impossible
wrong
4.
hands.
Skyfall and Mission Impossible 4.
Yeah, it's
What
been
the
done
fuck?
a million times.
And I want to preface this again. I
Okay.
am in support of more diversity
Everyone
and more female
is.
representation.
Everyone is, but like
I just get
it's-
annoyed in how it's advertised.
It's
Yeah.
so
It
what's
shouldn't be a
talking
marketing tool.
about? Exactly. Like the word it's
right,
so
because that's hypocritical. That goes
Yeah.
against the
Yeah.
notion of equality.
it's so there's what's the word I'm thinking of? It's very say something more.
Wonder Woman didn't do that actually. Like
condescending. It's very
Yeah.
condescending.
Wonder Woman was not condescending.
No,
That's
it was
something I
like,
loved about it.
Finally, the first good movie in this DC universe. Everyone was happy about that. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
that she's a woman. It's like, oh, they made a movie about Wonder Woman that everyone's
And
been
it
waiting
wasn't
for
good
years,
just
and it was
because she
okay.
was a
It was a
woman.
good movie. No, it was.
It
a
was
good
good because
movie.
it was just good.
It was a good movie. Like no one, they didn't advertise it. It was like women can finally take off their chastity belts and start. And it's like some bullshit. It's
I
like
know.
making reality sound like more dramatized
Yeah.
than it actually is.
The
I don't know why-
patriarchy.
I don't know why I said
Right.
chastity belt.
I don't know why, but I get what you're saying, and I agree to I agree. I think it's good that there are, you know, and I'm happy to see that there are little girls out there who haven't seen older films and have one for this decade or so. I think it's great, but
Right.
I just feel like I agree. The advertising
It's
in that
very.
way
It's condescending.
is a little bit
It's
yeah.
malicious a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, and I think in the
And
future,
it's really annoying too when it's like again you have Aliens, Terminator, Xena, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like you and every single horror movie ever where the woman is the last person to survive.
The
and
new
fight
Evil
off-
Dead.
well, I think
The Evil Dead remake.
the Evil Dead
Well,
remake.
here's the
but on top of
criticism
that,
there.
Friday the 13th,
Exactly.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween.
I agree, but I also think we have to consider like Nightmare on Elm Street did not have this problem. Neither did most of the movies mentioned.
Right.
But I think there is a notion of like in a lot of the movies where the female's the last one alive. A lot of the time, you know, she walks out and like, you know, half naked and then survives the end of the movie.
When does that happen?
When
does she walk out like?
You never know. Sure, that's not a problem.
No, it's not in those.
In what horror movie does
it's in the bad slash? No, in the bad slasher movie.
Like in the.
It's like I'm gonna kill you, Michael Myers, as she's wiggling her ass.
No, we're not talking about those.
It's in the remakes.
It's in the remakes usually. Yeah.
Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from
the shitty remakes
or whatever. If you go on Netflix and you look up Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, the thumbnail, or not the thumbnail, but the banner image that pops up is some girl's ass.
It's Alexandra Daddario, who, to be fair,
is beautiful.
Is very beautiful. But that being said,
and she's also super badass, like on True Detective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have yet to watch True
Detective. But you know,
fucking Game of Thrones is like the biggest thing on TV, and Emilia Clarke is like one of the three, if not the main character of that show, and she is a woman. So like
Maisie's whole character,
Maisie and Sophie Turner, fucking Michonne in The Walking Dead, and even fucking Skylar White in Breaking Bad.
What's her name from Walking? Carol. She was an abused housewife in season 1.
Yeah,
and now she fucking
and now she's one
up.
of the biggest badasses in the entire show. Like, it just bothers me so much that every single time there's something with women in it, and let me make this very clear, it's a bad situation about the world that you have to say this in between substantial thoughts, that we're all very pro-equality and love women.
I know.
Trust me, as a straight man and as also a decent human being, I like women and I like men. But sexually speaking, I like women. In terms of being a decent human being, I like everybody. That being said, every single fucking time that a movie where, especially in the last couple of years, where it is a female-led movie and it is marketed and twisted in a way to say, there has never been a good female protagonist ever, is so... I find it kind of revolting because it's such a disservice to all the great female characters that came out.
It'd be better if they said a new female character is on the rise or a new female action hero.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Even there, you can sense a little bit of condescension potentially.
Right.
Yeah, well, they did it with
that wouldn't bother me at all because I understand what they're saying. Here's a new female hero of this decade, and it's Wonder Woman. Awesome. Right. You know.
People did it with the Tomb Raider reboot, the game.
Yeah.
It's funny because the developers and Square didn't really push that.
No,
at all. It's the people.
They just wanted to make a good video.
Yeah, no, it was everyone. It's like the journalists were like, "Look, it's a blood." Well, it's like, shut the fuck
dude,
up.
if a great movie came out that was
female Uncharted,
and they didn't talk about it, it'd be great.
When the Alicia Vikander-led Tomb Raider reboot comes out next year or in 2 years,
it's gonna be like she's an icon.
Well, when people say when this movie's coming out, you're gonna see in the advertisements in the commercials, finally, the first female-led action movie ever made in the history of human entertainment.
The first Lara Croft we've ever seen.
The biggest, bestest Lara Croft led by Vikander is here.
You know what movie is regarding diversity I think was actually brilliant across the board waiting to come out?
Shrek 2.
Advertised. Shrek 2. That's disgusting. That was so gross. That was so gross. Holy shit.
That was so genuine. I love it. What were you going to say?
Moonlight.
I haven't seen that yet.
They haven't advertised it to be anything. It just is about diversity.
Know it was about
well, not necessarily diversity.
I didn't even know it was a black person who was gay. That was what the movie's about until I was watching the Academy Awards. I just thought it was it's about this person that eventually grows into Mahershala Ali, and it's
Mahershi's syrup.
And I love Mahershala Ali. I think he's a great actor. And
I loved him in Luke Cage.
I thought he was so fucking good in Luke Cage. And what was that other fucking thing he was in? Not Moonlight.
Shrek 2.
Shut up. By the way, I just heard about this, but apparently he's going to be the lead in True Detective Season 3.
Marshmallow?
Shrek 2. Mahershala Ali is going to be the star of True Detective Season 3. Which is actually really cool.
Really excited for that, actually.
When was the last season? Didn't it come out 3 years ago?
I don't know. Point is that...
No, it was with Colin Farrell and actually Vince Vaughn.
And Taylor Kish.
Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn. Wow, that is
a lot of people didn't
casting.
like it. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought they were good.
Well, that's what I heard. That's why HBO didn't make it.
They almost canceled it.
They almost canceled it because they were True Detective Season 1 is one of the best things in TV history in the last 10 years. And then Season 2 is okay, from what I understand, and people were like, well, this sucks because it's not as good as the other thing I saw. And then HBO was like, oh, shit.
Wait a minute, this isn't Vin Diesel. It's Vince Vanille.
Yeah. But in regards to Moonlight, What makes it so wonderful is you have an amazing movie, amazing cast, amazing everything, and it really heavily focuses on diversity. Yet it doesn't advertise itself as the first time this has ever been done, or you've never seen this before. Even though it is an original movie, I think almost in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think what they did so well is that they just let the movie be what it is. Like, here's a movie, we've released it.
It's an indie movie.
Right, there you go.
You know,
like no one said Manchester by the Sea has a lot of white people. No one said that.
Right.
It's an indie
well, no
movie.
one would say that because they get offended by it for some stupid reason.
But the movie's on its own is just a good movie, and it's had a lot of positive impact, within a lot of, like,
and
for
one
a lot of
Best Picture,
communities.
which is pretty.
And it's great.
It's got a lot of buzz.
Yeah, but they didn't do what we were talking about earlier, where they were like, "Oh, it's about all these people in this particular group." They were just like, "Here's a movie, and here's the trailer."
It didn't
This is what it's
pander to
about.
anyone. It's like, this is a movie, this is a story, here it is, and people liked it.
Because I don't think they really. They're like, if you want to see our movie, come see our movie. If not, I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah, and it's great.
It's like the big
that's
budget
actually
movies are like, we need everybody, so they have to appeal to as many people as they can.
I feel like saying this is the woman James Bond is the most lowbrow pandering thing you can say about a movie that isn't even, from what I understand, is nothing like James Bond because it's like a slow burn spy thriller. It's not a fast-paced, super over-the-top
And the
action spy
director,
movie
the guy
like
that
James Bond.
directed it, directed John Wick.
Yeah, I found that to be very funny.
Which
It's
is-
the female
Yeah,
John
and
Wick.
John Wick,
So funny.
John Wick isn't even a spy movie. It's a
I
fucking
know.
movie.
It's a revenge movie.
I do
Yeah.
think that it is basically a female John Wick for sure, but at the same time, I feel like I don't want to refer to it as like a female John
It's
Wick.
its own
I want it to
thing.
be its own thing.
Like,
It's like, it's gonna
a
sound
better
bad,
thing to
but
say
it's
was,
disrespectful to John Wick because those two movies are so much better.
I want you to kiss Keanu
Because
Reeves.
he's a man.
I feel like a better thing would have been like the makers of John Wick have done it again. Like that would have
that would be
would've
great.
said the exact same thing.
We're doing John Wick again, but
but-
a little different.
Yeah, but it
We're
wouldn't.
now with John Goodman.
It wouldn't be condescending. It wouldn't have been pandering, and it would have said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe even better because it's like it sounds honest. It doesn't sound fucking.
They didn't fluff up her role in Mad Max.
No.
And that
And
was
she was
awesome.
a big. She arguably had more of a part in the story than Max.
Yeah, she did. She so much so that they're George Romero's like apparently writing
George Miller.
like a spin-off, which is
George
like
Romero died.
no, he didn't.
George Romero just died.
What?
Night of the Living Dead.
You posted about it on Facebook.
Sorry. Oh my God! What I said?
You're fucking social media
Not-
slut.
Not George Romero.
George
the other
Miller.
George
He's also
Miller.
really old though, so he's probably gonna die.
Yeah, but he also directed Happy Feet.
I wanted him to direct Man of
Wait,
Steel
what?
too.
Yeah, George Miller directed Happy Feet.
That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I remember when we
Let's
watched.
go away from the action. I want those fucking penguins.
We watched Mad Max in Fury Road in my film class like a year ago, and my professor did it in the funniest way. Y'all seen Happy Feet, right? And everyone's like, yeah. I was like, well, the same guy who made this. And then she shows posters for all the Mad Max movies. It's like,
the most violent shit.
yeah, it's like, now we're going to watch the new one because, quite frankly, I just wanted to watch it again.
No, but
Jesus.
Charlize Theron was fantastic in it,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it was awesome. But it didn't advertise the movie. They didn't advertise the movie by saying, "Here's like we have a strong female
Yeah.
character." It
Yeah.
just is a Mad Max
Yeah,
movie,
it's
and
like,
there is a strong female character in it.
Here's the brand recognition of Mad
There's
Max.
multiple.
Here's Tom Hardy
Yeah,
and
that's
Charlize
right.
Theron. That's all you need to
Yeah,
know.
and then like at the end, spoilers. When they make it to the where she came from,
Right.
all the survivors are old women,
Yeah.
and they don't even. No one makes a big deal about that.
Yeah, and they all kick ass, too.
Yeah, and they're like 87.
Yeah.
Easter egg. You can see one of their nips if you go to one
Shut
of
the if you look close enough, you can see a DVD copy of Shrek 2 and Mad Max Fury Road.
Google it.
But yeah, it was just handled really well.
Immortan Joe.
What I was trying to say,
Is
not George Romero.
Shrek.
George,
The Frog.
George
Yes.
Miller has apparently been working on I don't know if he's been working on it or it's just been Warner Brothers, but like a Furiosa spinoff has been.
I'd be
in the
down.
works.
That'd
Like,
be awesome.
Quite frankly, I love post-apocalyptic stories, and
Yeah, me too.
she was like the highlight of that movie. In addition to like all the other crazy stuff that was awesome about that
I
movie.
thought Tom
I'd
Hardy's
be down
grunts
for
were
that.
the best part.
Yeah, I'd be
Quite
down for
frankly,
a
I would
Furiosa
be agree.
spinoff. I just think, though, that if they just advertise it to be exactly what it is versus trying to pander to a particular
If they
group, it
make
would
a
be better.
Furiosa
That's all.
movie and in the
Yeah.
commercials it's like, finally, the female of Mad Max is here, I'm gonna shit in my own mouth and die.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard someone took like when they sprayed the silver paint in their mouth and they went to Valhalla.
Yeah,
like
I
someone
live,
did
I
that.
die, I live again.
Yeah, someone did that and they actually died.
Well, it wasn't iDubbbz because
No, they.
It's a movie. You can't do that in real life.
They like inhaled spray paint, and they're like, they
I'll bring it back. I'm gonna go.
No! Come back! Oh yeah, I really want to talk to you guys about Get Even, because it's published by Bandai Namco, which I never would have thought, and it's like some Polish developer.
Soul Calibur.
No, it's basically like the plot is you're like a mercenary, and the game starts when you're trying to save a hostage, and like you try to save her, and like
So it's the female Taken?
yeah, but I fucked up really hard, and she told me the bomb code to like defuse it is 3021, and I already pushed 2 because I was like, I don't know the code, and it wouldn't let me go back, so I was like, oh shit, and I pressed 302 and it said denied, and it blew up, and I was like, fuck. So like the story's about like you're like a mercenary, you wake up in an asylum, and you're like trying to piece back like your memories, and you put on like a VR, like the character puts on like a VR headset, and basically it's like becomes a detective thriller, and you're just trying to piece together like what happened, and it's really good, even though
it sounds like murdered.
It's
what's the fucking thing?
Murdered soul.
You mean like the
Marshmallow?
Marshmallow.
You know what I thought it? Guys.
It sounds like Myrtle.
remember the
It sounded like murdered soul suspect.
Myrtle Squirtle.
Guys, remember that girl in Harry Potter named Myrtle?
Yeah, what was her name?
it was Myrtle.
No,
with the glasses, the ghost.
She had like a name
in the
it
bathtub.
was like Moaning Myrtle or something.
Moaning Myrtle, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, that girl was fucking disgusting in the movies. She's like, I will see your penis.
Finally, the female.
We know it was an older woman. She was in
the
her like
female
30s and 40s.
Casper.
Playing
That's revolting.
I thought it worked. I don't know.
Casper, the racist ghost.
Coming this summer, part of the
the Dark Universe.
The Dark.
Oh
Universe.
my god.
Oh my god. That's honestly.
You know what's wrong with this universe? It's called dark.
It should be light.
Well, didn't Warner Brothers sue Universal because DC has a dark universe?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of sad that Universal didn't do their research to see if the name was taken.
They should put the Myrtle, the Soul Spectre, in the Dark Universal.
Starring Marshmallow Schnolly. But basically the game...
Muhammad Ali
the
2,
game
Marshmallow
controls,
Schmally.
It's disgusting. The game controls really... it's like clunky, but... like clunky like a 2006 first-person shooter.
Like Heavy Rain clunky?
No,
because
it's an FPS, so it's just like the characters' animations are a little slow. But there's this really cool weapon that kind of changes how first-person shooters work, and it's called the corner gun. And basically, like, if you're like, let's say I'm crouched like next to a door, you push like L1 or R1, and the gun has like a little camera on it. And it fucking turns around the corner, and you can see, like, the person with, like, infrared.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like, you can peek the gun, like, around corners and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then, like, your choices, like, matter. So, in the beginning, I let this guy out of his cell.
Clementine will remember that.
Yeah, but...
Heavy Rain.
Fuck that. Fuck Heavy Rain. Like, in the beginning...
I actually really liked it when it first came out.
So did I, and then I replayed it, and I was like, this is so boring.
Like, a year or two ago.
Jason!
It was the worst
Jason!
The problem is that...
Jason!
Mr. Clown, have you seen my son? Oh no, we got hit by a car!
The thing is, you played it too late, because when it came out, it was like cutting-edge facial recognition technology.
I mean, but I feel
like... L.A. Noire was the same way, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
But less laughable.
Well,
it was much better.
But it was more of a game.
I feel like both of them are kind of like the Uncanny Valley, where it looks so real that it's kind of scary.
It's kind of gross. L.A. Noire is kind of gross. Like, but actually, I love that game. I hope it comes to the Switch. But
I wanted the sequel. I thought that would have been
yeah,
awesome.
but there was a lot of bad blood between Rockstar and Team Bondi.
Well, Team Bondi was working on a game called The Horror of the Orient, and then they went bankrupt or something, so that game got canceled, and their studio got shelved or something. I don't know. People lost their jobs. How could you say that?
Heavy Rain. Okay, let's put it this way. In Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, I don't know what David Cage's fixation with this is, but there's like a half-an-hour segment where you just cook food for some fuck. Like in Heavy Rain, it's the kid. He's like, "Oh, it must be time for Jason's dinner."
It's
or
only
whatever the
a
other kid's name is.
It's only a minute though. It's
Yeah.
only 30 minutes because you don't know how to play it at that point.
No, there's so many like things you can look at, and then it zooms in, and it's like a note on the fridge, and it's like, make your fucking gay son dinner. And then in Beyond Two Souls, it's Ellen Page in her underwear yelling at a ghost, going, "We have to cook dinner!"
Beyond Two Souls.
I want the whole conflict of Detroit Become Human. It's like, if the robots don't cook dinner, we're all gonna die.
Guys, Beyond Two Souls out of the 3 was by far the worst one.
There's a 2-hour segment of that game where you help a Navajo family cleanse themselves from evil spirits, and they never talk about it ever again afterwards.
Heavy Rain's way better than Beyond Two Souls. I'm sorry, but it is, and it's true.
It
And
is.
LA
No,
Noir's
I
way
agree.
better
You're
than Heavy
telling me,
Rain.
is that some bald fuck named David Cage made a video game where you cleanse the Navajo with Ellen Page's underwear?
Yes.
10 out of 10.
Woodbang.
Did you guys play his first
Ghosts.
Would bang ghosts. Casper. Mm.
No, that whole game is you play.
Casper Daddy.
You play.
Casper Daddy.
You
Casper
play an
Mommy.
orb. You play an orb of floating Gatorade, and like, because it's blue, like that.
Like my drink.
Shut up. And like, she basically just yells at it the whole time. While I don't know what the game wants. It's not a game. It's really not a game.
That was my problem with Heavy Rain, is that you're just playing it, but you're not
Just
playing
make, just
it.
make a
You're-
movie.
You're playing it with air quotes. Like, you're just
Yeah.
moving an animated character. There is no video game.
It's
like
boring.
it is as interactive.
There's no agency and there's no interactivity.
Like, Uncharted is an interactive movie, but Heavy Rain is an interactive movie to a fault.
yeah, but
Where
Uncharted
it doesn't
they
feel like a video game.
Uncharted doesn't take away control unless
No,
there's a
it's
cutscene.
a video game.
Unless there's a cutscene.
It
Especially
feels-
in the 4th one, which you guys need to play.
I will play it. Oh, by the way, I think I told you this, but I stopped playing Animal Crossing.
Oh, thank God.
Why are you going?
He's free!
I mean,
Your town will crumble and your
It's-
citizens will perish.
Oh, it's true. It's
I
not,
hope a cult moves in and kills all the villagers.
it's not that it was a bad game. I think it's one of the best games I've played in a long time. But
Take that back.
it got
You
to
take it back!
It got to the point where like I did.
Where you thought you were a goat?
What?
Because you play as animals. and
No, you play as a villager, and everyone else is animals.
That's gay.
Toby, did you see that? Did you see that thing I sent you where I think it's in the group chat where it was from that
I'm
page
sweating!
that's comic panels out of context, and it was this dude talking to another guy, and it's from a comic panel. He says, "I don't fuck goats." He's like, "I
Oh,
make
yeah,
love
I
to
saw
goats."
that.
Ew.
I just make sweet lovins.
And
to
he
the
basically
goats.
looked like what people describe real life Men in Black sightings to look like.
Ew.
Speaking of alien sightings, did you hear that the guy who played I forget the name of the character. I think it was Parker. One of the guys in Alien, the original Alien.
Mhm.
Apparently, he believes that he was actually abducted by real aliens.
Like, he believes the set was
The
was
actor
real.
who played Parker in Alien, who in that movie was killed by an alien, but in real life just basically said, I don't know exactly what medium or like in what outlet he said this, but he was like, apparently he thinks that he was abducted by aliens.
He probably just saw Sigourney Weaver and was like, "Ah!"
Like, Sigourney Weaver, even though she's like... I think
Easter egg. There's a shot in that movie
Shut
where you
up.
can see her vagina head
It's
coming out of her
Easter
underwear.
egg. If you watch Shrek 2, you can see a DVD copy of Alien.
Wait,
I love you, Daddy.
Ew.
and on that note, we should probably end the podcast.
I mean, yeah.
That was a Shrek 2 reference.
I don't know. What do you think? Who's the hotter 70-year-old woman? Marissa Tomei or Sigourney Weaver?
Eddie Murphy.
Or David Cage?
I think Eddie Murphy's my
David
favorite.
Cage. Those games are painful because it's French people trying to speak like Americans, so it's like, we must cook the omelette, and it's like, shut the fuck
Okay,
up.
guys. Last thing before
Jason!
Last thing before we end the episode. Fuck, marry, kill. Sigourney Weaver, Marissa Tomei, or David Cage?
Oh, I'm gonna fuck Mary.